Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with Green Goddess Dressing. That's right, I don't have anything against gods, but until I see pregnant men walking around, I'm going to assume it was a goddess that gave birth to the heavens and earth, and because of that simple and fairly obvious fact, this would be the perfect dressing to make for Mother's Day. And if you're thinking a salad dressing is not fancy enough to impress mom, you know that expression, it's the thought that counts? Mothers are the only ones that actually mean that. Okay, so this is going to be perfectly appropriate. So let's get started. And there's an old saying, show me a man that can't make green goddess dressing, and I'll show you a man that doesn't have a blender. So yes, you could use a food processor or one of those stick-style immersion blenders, but a regular blender will work the best. And into that blender, we're going to place some mayonnaise, possibly homemade or from your favorite jar. And then to that, we're going to add some sour cream. I'm pretty sure you could also use creme fraiche. And of course, as I was putting in the last spoon, I was thinking, don't miss and have it run down the side, and that's exactly what happened, which was a shame. So I tried to scrape it down, but the damage was done. But anyway, I pushed through and continued on, and went ahead and added 1 anchovy fillet and 1 clove of garlic that I kind of roughly chopped. And by the way, you can probably add that clove whole, but I always think it blends better if you chop it up a little bit. And then after the garlic, we'll go ahead and spice this up a little bit with some cayenne pepper. We'll also add a little bit of freshly ground black pepper, and of course a pinch of salt, but be careful, anchovies are salty. And then to balance things out, we're going to want a little bit of acidity, and I like to go with a combo of a little bit of vinegar and fresh lemon juice. So I'm going to go ahead and cut and squeeze 1 large juicy lemon. And this reminds me, I used to work with a chef who every time he saw a lemon shaped like this would say, hey, that lemon looks a little chilly. Which, as stupid as it was, always made me laugh. But anyway, we're going to add some fresh lemon juice, along with a little bit of rice vinegar, which as you know is very mild and works perfectly in this. And once that's in, we're down to the most important ingredients, the herbs. And there they are. We got 3 of them. We got your flat leaf Italian parsley. We're also going to put in some chives. And then really the star of the show and the most important herb, the tarragon. And what really gives this dressing its signature sweet aromatic flavor. And one tip, if you have an extra minute, I do like to give the herbs a chop before I throw them in. Especially the chives, which are kind of fibrous. I think it's going to blend smoother and you don't have to worry about things wrapping around the blade. And then we'll go ahead and add that to the blender, along with the chopped up parsley and the tarragon. And at that point, we can go over to the blender and process this on high speed until very, very smooth. And you know the drill. We like to get it started for about 20 seconds or so. And then we'll stop it and we'll take our spatula and we'll kind of scrape everything down. Hey, who knows? You might have a big chunk of garlic stuck on the side. Then what? So we'll just make sure everything's blending as planned. And then, like I said, we're going to continue blending until absolutely and perfectly smooth. At which point, you're basically done. Let's go ahead and pour that into some kind of serving dish. And while we do, let's admire its color. I mean, that is one beautiful green. I mean, come on, how is an herb-based dressing that color not going to be awesome? And then, of course, before this gets anywhere close to your guess, you're going to taste it for seasoning. Maybe it needs a little salt, maybe it doesn't. And you can see right here what I think is the perfect viscosity, the perfect consistency, the perfect thickness. It's just thick enough to coat and stay on greens. Yet it's not so heavy that it just crushes the salad. But anyway, once we've seasoned it and admired its consistency, that's ready to serve up, possibly next to a freakishly scalloped metal spoon. I'm going to go ahead and spoon mine over some salad for the official taste test, which should not surprise anyone. It's absolutely perfect. But this is also an amazing dip and quite an extraordinary cold sauce for things like grilled meat and fish. But anyway, that's it. Green Goddess dressing. So whether you are going to make it for Mother's Day, or you just want to enjoy what is actually Chef John's favorite all-time salad dressing, which is also a great reason, I hope you give this a try soon. So head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.